Noisy neighbors, how do you handle them?
For those who live in an apartment building, do you get upset when your neighbors blast music late at night or early in the morning? If so, how did you handle it if it was ongoing?
When my neighbors blast music, I connect to their Bluetooth soundboard with multiple devices and continuously switch the attached device and song playing until they get frustrated and shut it off. When they confronted me about it, I exclaimed, "Oh, that's what keeps interrupting my headphones. I have to wear headphones 247 to block out your music and stomping. Now, what was your problem?" They are slowly getting it.
I'd suggest moving. I know. It's not gonna get any better anything you do. The more you stir shit, the worse it stinks.
Report him to management. If that doesn't work, you make a noise complaint with police.
Play your music louder.
Connect to their Bluetooth speaker and play the Paw Patrol theme song. After months of unsuccessfully dealing with this same issue, I found a solution. Might not work for you, but it's been an absolute miracle for me. It's a certain sound on a specific white noise app that completely masks my neighbor's bass. It's White Noise Relaxing Sleep Sounds by TMSOFT, blue background with white bars. The noise is called Box Fan. It's really deep and low, and when I run it through my speaker at night, it 100 masks my neighbor's noise. She doesn't blast music or anything, but she does watch action movies that are loud as hell. Something about that box fan setting and how deep it is, I don't even hear her TV anymore. It's been an absolute godsend of a solution for me. Might be worth a try. We had a neighbor like this, and any approach we tried made no difference. People like this are self-absorbed sociopaths and will only increase their obnoxious behavior. Our problem was eventually solved when he shot himself.
I had to move. During lockdown, I lived in Postle Park, Glasgow, and my neighbor was a junkie. The noise was unbelievable, and to make matters worse, if his junkie mates couldn't get into the close, they would knock on my window. There was a constant stink of weed and they kept breaking into my flat. I had a nervous breakdown and ended up in hospital. I am in sheltered accommodation now. Sometimes the noisy neighbors win.
Have you spoken with the neighbor? Unless they're willing to work with you, it will never get better. In my experience, if you call the cops or tell the complex, they will just play it louder to be annoying. Try talking to them and see if they will turn it down after 10 p.m. Normal quiet hours are usually from 1:06, I think, so in the morning or middle of the day. I don't think there is much you can do. Loud neighbors know they're loud and usually just do not give a fuck. You have a couple options. You can get in touch with the landlord and tell him you need caulk in the joining wall due to the noise. This is soundproofing, maybe he will talk to them. Or stop paying your rent until it stops. Look for your city's ordinance on noise. Call the police and say that they are violating the ordinance. Have a talk with them. If you can stay calm, be as straightforward as possible. Don't bend on your position. At least find out what the other neighbors think.
If you don't feel comfortable just asking them to turn it down, you could leave a friendly note.
I used to have a neighbor that would scream at her daughter. I started hitting the floor when she did the trick. If they keep you awake at night, vacuum your apartment and use the blender at 5 a.m. Or, better yet, take up the drums as a new hobby. Decent people care about others. They might not realize they are being so loud. Give people the benefit, and talk to them nicely about it. They will either stop, or they won't. If they won't voluntarily stop, you can try to convince them. You can try tattling on them to the cops or apartment building. You can try being a jerk and playing loud music back. You can even try bribery, like, "Hey bro, how about I hook you up with these fancy headphones?" I've tried it all, always with limited success. Ultimately, there is no real solution. The apartments were built as cheaply as possible, and that's why everything sounds loud. And lots of neighbors don't care. If you want quiet, you need either luck, or a house detached from anything else. Even with a house, loud neighbors can ruin your life. I lived next to a struggling drummer. It didn't matter that we had single-family homes, music would shake the walls. You need a single-family home in a city that has noise ordinances and enforces them, or one of those evil HOAs, or you need a super rural home on many acres of land. My father-in-law lives in rural Iowa and he still has to deal with neighbors shooting guns and a rock quarry that blasts. Noise sucks.
Talk to them about it kindly. Odds are good they don't even realize they are bothering you.
I call the cops if it violates the city noise ordinance.
I would call management. Every time if they refused to deal with the situation, I requested my lease be terminated, full deposit returned and I'd move. If they won't enforce the rules on the lease they make everyone sign, I wouldn't live there.
I ignore them. I had deaf neighbors whose TV would be full loud volume 1, just tune them out. I don't care, they're in the privacy of their own homes.
I haven't done anything. To be honest, I have been here for 2 years and I don't talk to anyone. I completely keep to myself. It's getting worse though. It doesn't matter if it's 11 or 12 at night or 8 a.m. They will have the music so loud that even if I have a fan going and watching a movie, I can still hear their music over it. I haven't done anything. To be honest, I have been here for 2 years and I don't talk to anyone. I completely keep to myself. It's getting worse though. It doesn't matter if it's 11 or 12 at night or 8 a.m. They will have the music so loud that even if I have a fan going and watching a movie, I can still hear their music over it.
I did this and they shut the windows not to hear it.
Ha ha ha, okay, this is hilarious.
Went out with a loud noise.
I have not said a word to the neighbors. Part of the reason is there are 2 apartments upstairs, so I can't be 100% certain who it is, but it's right above me. Here's the primary reason though. I've heard some DV coming from there as well, and on New Year's Eve I did call the police because I heard the woman running and screaming at the top of her lungs. They just don't seem super friendly.
I've had earbuds in before and could still hear their music.
Well, I've wondered if they even realize just how loud it is. Do they know the entire building knows what music they're listening to?
Definitely leave. I know all the many problems with that, but it's up to you to keep your sanity. Good luck, my ninja.
I talk to whoever you pay rent to. Unless you want to talk to the people directly, you really don't have many other options aside from that or calling police.
I had a buddy that would make his own song and say shut the fuck up, you're loud. Nobody wants to hear your shit. Bluetooth and hit play.
I would talk to the neighbor in the other apartment and ask them if they sometimes hear music being blasted too loud as well. Chances are they are just as annoyed as you, and it always helps to have an ally. If you hadn't overheard what sounded like a DV situation, I would suggest just talking to the noisy neighbor and innocently asking if they also hear the noise or know where it's coming from. Or if it's obvious, just ask them to tone it down. A lot of the time, people aren't being assholes on purpose, but they're genuinely not aware they're bothering others. Sound can travel weirdly in apartment buildings too. But it seems like you'd rather not talk to them at all, so my best advice would be the make an ally approach.
Oof, then that makes it even harder. I probably wouldn't want to really talk to them either. But Below has a good idea: team up with the other neighbor and maybe you can get something done. Foam earplugs stop much more sound. I remember at my old apartment, earplugs or headphones with my own music on worked. However, I also risked not being able to hear my alarm go off in the morning. It sucked. Oh, and also, the earplugs didn't stop the bass vibrating the walls. I could still feel it. Just as frustrating.
There was an issue like this when I lived downtown. One day it all stopped, which surprised me because this guy was not bending at all. When I moved several years later, a neighbor told me exactly what happened. He monitored the dude's work schedule and then left the entrance open after he left. The guy told homeless drug addicts that the guy hides crack and cash in the speakers and that the stereo was expensive. Surveillance footage even showed them breaking into the apartment. Oops.